Have you got time for...
Yes, of course.
Are you familiar with someone who goes by the name Jimbo?
No, I don't think so. Who is that?
A friend of Ronan's.
No, as I told you, I didn't know Ronan to have any friends. I especially don't recall him mentioning anyone called Jimbo.
Those are all the questions I have for now.
All right, Mr. Fordham.
Crimson Cat, one of my favorite underground clubs. Ooh, I spent some wild nights here. Which reminds me, I wonder if Stefan is still working the bar these days.
Beg your pardon. Your name wouldn't happen to be Jimbo, would it?
Yeah? Who's asking?
Miles Fordham, private investigator.
Can a guy enjoy his shore leave without being harassed by the law? I've done nothing wrong.
I didn't say you had, and I'm most certainly not the law. I just want to ask you a few questions.
All right, fine.
You know Ronan the Spey?
I knew him, yeah.
Knew him?
He and I haven't spoken recently. In about a month, actually. Things didn't go so well last time.
How do you mean?
Let's just say we didn't part on the best of terms. He made it very clear that he didn't want to speak to me again. It's just a nickname. My real name's James Bowcroft.
And what is it you do?
I'm a sailor. I thought you detective types were supposed to be extra observant. Shouldn't you be able to tell me what my occupation was just by looking at my fingernails or something?
Sorry to disappoint. Perceptiveness is important in my line of work, but I'm also just a man.
I think perhaps Jimbo has been reading too many of those detective stories in Brentwells.
Were you aware that Ronan was murdered?
What? No, when? What happened?
He was shot outside a tavern in Chumley 4 nights ago.
Chumley? What was he doing there?
I was hoping perhaps you could tell me.
I honestly don't know. Ronan hardly went out, and he especially never crossed the river.
Why was that?
I think he was just too scared of the world to go out and see it for himself. He was happy enough reading about it in his books or collecting things I brought him back from my travels. Honestly, that's what I liked most about him. He was just an average, boring man. It was just the sort of balance I needed in my life.
That's pretty much the exact same reason I always enjoyed working with you, Miles.
You and Ronan had a special relationship, didn't you?
Mr. Fordham, we're in an underground club. You don't have to tap dance around it. Yes, Ronan and I were a couple, at least up until last month.
What happened, if you don't mind me asking?
We had a misunderstanding. Ronan thought I had been seeing someone else. He was extremely jealous. I tried to explain that he had it all wrong, but he wouldn't hear me out. I was going to give him some time to cool off, but, well, that's not going to happen now, is it?
If it's any consolation, I found a letter you wrote him, which he still kept in his desk.
Damn. Thank you for telling me that.
Do you have any opinions about the recent election?
Not really. I'm usually way at sea, so I don't keep up with politics. The sea's got her own laws. Anyway, I can't vote, so it's really none of my concern.
But you're still affected by the decisions the Prime Minister makes.
Not very fair, is it, Mr. Fordham?
No, but hopefully Mr. Leroy will stand up for equal rights.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
A moment of your time, if I may.
Right, but make it quick.
I wonder if you could tell me if you saw a man of this description at the Silent Raven on election night. He's tall, of strong build, with a beard or mutton chops, dressing all in black and possibly wearing a cap.
Oh, hi. Cormac remembers seeing a fella like that.
What was he doing?
Kept going in and out of the bar. When he was inside, he stood near the voting booths, hardly moving a muscle.
And when he was outside?
That, Cormac couldn't say.
Did you notice anything else about him?
Yes, Cormac noticed him come in and speak with Nicole, The barmaid, after the commotion outside.
Is that right? That's very interesting. Thanks for your time. I'll let you get back to your drink. Excuse me, barmaid?
Hi, what do you need?
I was given the physical description of a man, and I was wondering if you might recognize him if I told you.
Perhaps. Go on, then.
He's tall, of strong build, with a beard or mutton chops, dressing all in black and possibly wearing a cap.
Bit vague, wouldn't you say? That covers about half our clientele.
I was afraid that might be the case. Did you notice anyone of that description here on election night?
No. Can't say I did, sorry.
Is that right? Because Cormac told me he saw you speaking with someone of that description shortly after the murder occurred.
And you believed him? Cormac's a good sort, but he's not exactly reliable.
I'd say he's twice as reliable as you are. Now tell me the truth, or I'll have you in as an accomplice to murder.
All right, relax. I don't know the man by name, but he came to me after the commotion outside and paid me a few crowns to keep my mouth shut about it. I didn't ask any more questions, and I wasn't about to refuse some extra cash. That was that, I swear.
That's not good enough. I need some way to find this man. Is there anything else you can tell me?
Well, I did notice he had a scar on his left cheek. Kind of looked like a shepherd's crook. But that's all, really.
I suppose that'll have to do. I appreciate you taking the time to chat.
Yeah.
Can't make heads or tails of it, but I'll bet you 10 crowns it doesn't say welcome. I wonder how many
Yes? What do you want?
I was told this was the place to come if I wanted to ride the dragon.
Oh. Well, why didn't you say so? Please, come in.
She's not going to be much help right now. That's not to bother her. Poor horse. That fellow in the armor must have weighed a ton. Now I see why they call it riding the dragon.
Excuse me, I'm looking for a man by the name of Darius.
Well, look no further. Welcome, friend. Sit, join me.
I'll stand, if that's all right. I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions.
Questions are the path to enlightenment. Answers fly by as birds on the breeze. But will a caged bird sing? That is the true question.
Wonderful. He's as high as a kite. This is going to be worse than pulling teeth.
Are you familiar with a man named Ronan Lespay?
I know many men. Some old, some young, some rich, some poor. Some I know by name, some by face. But this man you speak of, this Ronan, he is unfamiliar to me.
I have a ferrotype. Do you recognize him?
Forgive me, but my eyes are blurry. I cannot make out his features.
Well, he's useless, isn't he? Too bad there's no way to snap him out of it, like there was with Dupre's kid.
Do you know anything about the murder outside the Silent Raven on election night?
Murder? Was it a murder?
It was. A man was shot in cold blood.
That would explain the commotion, as well as the sound.
So you heard the gunshot?
I did. I thought it might have been one of the voting machines making a noise, but then there were shouts, and people began to run.
Did you see or hear anything before you heard the gunshot?
I seem to remember hearing a man shouting a name.
A name?
Yes. It sounded like Priscilla.
Well, how about that? He's managed to be of some use after all. Assuming he's telling the truth, of course.
And does the name Priscilla mean anything to you?
Afraid not, young man.
What can you tell me about the Silent Raven?
Ah, the Raven. My home away from home.
I would have thought that was this place. Unless this one is just the home.
Do you have many friends there? People you speak with often?
Yes, friends. I call them friends anyway, but really, what is a friend? Someone who drinks with you? Someone who shares secrets with you? Are those friends? My father used to tell me that the only two friends you had were your mother and the crown in your pocket. Well, both of those are gone now, so what does that mean for me?
I don't know, sir. I'm just asking about people you speak to at the Raven.
The barmaid, Nicole, she gets mad at me sometimes when I break things. But she's all right.
Have you ever conversed with a patron called Singing Tom?
Singing Tom? You mean old Tom Puffin?
I'm not sure. I was just told he was called Singing Tom and was a regular at the Silent Raven.
That's the man. I see him in here all the time.
In here, not just at the Raven?
Tom is a child of the poppy, just as I am. He truly understands the world as it is.
Do you know where I might be able to find him?
Yes, he's the choirmaster at St. Denis Cathedral. That's where he spends his time when he's not here.
You mean to tell me we have to talk to another one of these loonies? Wonderful.
Do you often come to this establishment, Darius?
Oh, yes. This place is better than any doctor or hospital. It has exactly the cure I need.
Cure? For what?
I'm ill, sir. Just as you are. Just as we all are. Infected by a terrible disease known as life.
Speak for yourself.
But spend a few hours in here with the intoxicating nectar of the poppy, and you'll find nothing can defeat you.
So did you manage to get out of here and vote?
Please don't bother me with such trivial matters. Why should I care who leads the government? As long as they don't outlaw places like this, they can do whatever they please.
Is this guy ignorant or just apathetic? Yeah, well, I don't know, and I don't care.
I was wondering if you could tell me whether you saw a certain man at the Raven on election night. He's tall, of strong build, with a beard or mutton chops, dressing all in black and possibly wearing a cap.
Lots of people like that go to the Raven. I see loads of them every night. But now that you mention it, I do remember someone like that. He was a strange one.
How so?
I remember one of the times he came in, he was adjusting his hat. I could have sworn when he took it off for just a moment, his hair was bright red.
How is that strange, exactly?
Because his beard was jet black. It was the oddest thing I'd seen. Well, it was the oddest thing I'd seen, until his beard slid halfway down his face.
I see. Well, thank you for the information.
Wonderful. This testimony is about as useful as a hole in the head. Then again, there might be something to it.
Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye, young man. May you find peace and happiness.
Moment of your time, if I may.
Right, I'll make it quick.
Do you know anyone named Priscilla?
Nah, that's not a name Cormac knows.
Frankly, I'm surprised it's not the name of one of his tools.
Thanks for your time. I'll let you get back to your drink. Excuse me, barmaid?
Hi, what do you need?
Does the name Priscilla mean anything to you?
Nope.
I appreciate you taking the time to chat.
Yeah.
Can we talk for a moment, Upton?
Certainly. What's on your mind?
Upton, I need you to put out a bulletin. There's someone I need found.
Oh? Who's that?
I don't know his name. I only have a description.
All right, I'll need to ask you a few questions. Could you describe the man's height and build?
He's tall, with a large build.
All right. What color is his hair?
I'm certain it's red.
All right. Do you know of any unique details that might make him easier to identify?
Yes, he has a scar on his left cheek in the shape of a shepherd's crook.
Good. That will be helpful. All right, I'll put out the bulletin. Give me a moment. All right, the bulletin is out. I'll let you know if...
Upton? Just got your bulletin.
Hello, Giles. Have you got something for me?
As a matter of fact, I've got someone in the jail fitting your description perfectly.
You don't say.
Yup. Name's Harvey Presser. Got picked up a couple of days ago.
Thank you, Giles. You heard the man, Fordham. You've got yourself someone to interrogate over at Bow Street.
Fordham? You look even worse than the last time I saw you.
We can't all manage to keep looking as good as you, Giles.
What brings you back?
I'm looking to speak with your prisoner.
Presser? I just got off the horn with Upton about him. Seems you're not the only one interested in finding the man.
Then I suppose it's lucky I got here first.
Suppose so.
What was he brought in for, exactly?
He's the suspected leader of a cooping gang. Makes me glad I didn't bother to vote. All those dirty politics are just a waste of time.
And people wonder why nothing in Parliament ever changes. He's watching you like a hawk. Looks liable to toss you in one of his cells if you try any funny business.
Harvey Presser, I presume.
Who's asking?
Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator.
What do you want from me?
Just a few minutes of your time. You don't have anywhere to be, do you?
Hardy ha. Ask what you want, but I'm not answering anything until I see a lawyer.
Do you recognize the man in this ferrotype?
Should I?
His name is Ronan Lespay. He was shot outside the Silent Raven on election night.
That's a real shame.
Are you saying you know nothing about the murder outside the Silent Raven on election night?
Not a thing. I've never even heard of the Silent Raven.
Is that right? Because I've spoken to at least 3 people who swore they saw you there that night.
Yeah, and you're not police, so that doesn't scare me. You can't do a thing about it.
This guy's starting to get on my nerves. There has to be a way to make him talk.
I hear you were arrested for leading a cooping gang. Is that right?
I don't have to tell you a thing. You're not a copper.
That's all the questions I have for now.
Good. Leave me in peace.
Can we talk for a moment, Upton?
Certainly. What's on your mind?
Upton, what do you have on this Harvey Presser fellow?
Give me a moment, and I'll locate the arrest report. Here we are. He was picked up in a bar in Chumley after being identified as the leader of a cooping gang by one of his fellow gang members.
So much for loyalty. Anything else about him?
Not much besides his address.
That might be worth looking into.
It's 5885 Riverview Road, right near the asylum.
Ah, wonderful. Maybe afterwards you can drop by and pick out a room.
I'll let you get back to work.
And you'd better do the same.
Just a moment! Yeah? What do you want?
Ooh, she doesn't look like the type to take any guff. Better watch yourself, Miles.
Mrs. Presser, I'd like to speak with you about your husband.
Well, he's not here right now. He's been away for a few days, actually. Who are you exactly?
My name's Miles Fordham. I just have a few questions. I promise this won't take long.
All right, come in. But try and keep it down. My daughter isn't feeling well, and I don't want her being disturbed.
She doesn't look so good. Some of those modern steam cleaners, if they use them in this place, they clearly aren't worth a damn. Seems to be a notice from the bank threatening to foreclose on this place if they're late on their rent payment again. No wonder Harvey's taken a second job.
Mrs. Presser?
Yeah, what?
You know a man named Ronan Lespay?
Never heard of him.
And you've never seen the man in this ferrotype?
Nope. And I'm glad I haven't. Looks like a real pushover.
What does your husband do for a living, Mrs. Presser?
Harvey? He's a traveling salesman. Sells steam-powered cleaners like the ones in the corner there.
Oh?
Doesn't make much money on account of most people being afraid of steam tech these days. But Harvey tries his best to provide for me and little Mary. He's a good man. The job takes him out of town for days at a time, but we get by.
And that's all he does?
What are you asking? You know something I don't?
No, not at all. I was just curious.
Oh, look, another husband keeping secrets from his wife. There are a copper a dozen around here, it seems.
So what do you do while your husband's away?
Hang on there. What are you playing at? I'm a married woman.
I merely wanted to know a bit more about you, that's all. I meant no disrespect.
Is that your game? Asking innocent ladies about themselves so you can have your way?
She doesn't have to worry about being mistaken for innocent, that's for sure.
No, you know what? Just forget I said anything. Is your daughter all right?
She's just come down with a bit of something. This stew I'm making will put her right again. I've been giving her regular doses of Pink Bladder's Miracle Tonic, too. I'm sure she'll be back to tearing the house down again in a matter of days. Ticks after her father, that one.
Are you pleased with the election results?
Yeah, I'm glad that no-good high muckamuck Atwood was voted out. Maybe now they can finally get to work on that bridge to Gascone we've been promised for so long.
But won't Leroy's opposition to steam tech be bad for your husband's business?
Maybe, but Harvey's always managed to land on his feet. If it comes down to it, I'm sure he'll be able to find a new job in no time. I was never too keen on him selling those contraptions anyway. It'll be a relief to get them out of the house.
I don't have any more questions for you, Mrs. Presser.
Good.
A few more questions for you, Mr. Presser.
Whatever you say.
I had a little chat with your wife. You have a lovely family.
Mildred? How did you...
I may not be with the police anymore, but that doesn't mean I can't still get the information I need.
You didn't tell her about me being in jail, did you?
Don't worry. It was quite obvious your wife has no idea what you're involved in. As a man who values discretion, I thought it best not to shatter her illusions.
That's awfully decent of you.
Of course, I might change my mind, unless you start to cooperate.
I have to say, Miles, you've become a real natural at this tough cop role.
All right, fine. I'll talk. Just leave my family out of it.
Do you recognize the man in this ferrotype?
Yes, I do. That's Mr. Lespay.
And how is it you know him?
I was assigned to watch him and then pick him up on election night.
Assigned? By whom?
My employer. I'd really rather not name names, Mr. Fordham.
I don't care about your employer. What I care about is what you were doing with Mr. Lespay.
Well, it was a cooping scheme. He was one of the people I was told to pick up.
Tell me what you know about the murder outside the Silent Raven.
The most important thing I can tell you is that I didn't kill him.
Do you know who did?
Not a clue. I was inside the bar when I heard the gunshot. I went outside to see what had happened and found Lespay on the sidewalk.
And what happened next?
What do you think? I panicked. He was in my care. I wasn't expecting anyone to get killed.
I think Mr. Presser has a wildly different definition of the word care.
I went inside and gave the barmaid 10 crowns to keep her mouth shut. Clearly, that was money misspent. Then I went back home. Told my wife I was going away on a business trip for a few days, just in case. Good thing I did, too. I might get out of this with her none the wiser.
What makes you so sure they'll let you out?
Me, I'm just a small fish, but I could talk and talk about whales. That's valuable information.
Quite the shrewd negotiator, this one. I think his skills have been wasted.
Is this your first time in jail?
Yeah, actually. Suppose you think I'm just some criminal scum, born for the gibbet? I'm not a bad man, Mr. Fordham. I just made some mistakes. You've met my family. I'd do anything for them. Anything.
I suppose no good deed goes unpunished.
You can say that again.
Tell me more about this cooping scheme.
I got paid to find men to vote for Atwood. Simple, really. Once I found a good mark, I followed him a bit, knocked him out, then took him to the coop, a little room I rented near the Raven. I had about 5 men on election night, including Lespay. Got them all liquored up and walked them over to the polls. Once each of them voted, we'd walk back over to the coop. I'd change their clothes, maybe give them a fake beard, and walk back for another vote. Did it for myself, too, so people would be less likely to notice. Kept it up for a few hours, until the murder.
That's all the questions I have for now.
Good. Leave me in peace.
I beg your pardon. Are you Tom Puffin?
I am. How may I help you?
Miles Fordham, private investigator. I wanted to ask you a few questions.
Questions? Have I done something wrong?
No, Mr. Puffin. I simply believe you may have some information that I need.
Very well, then.
What were you doing on election night, Mr. Puffin?
Election night? That was ages ago, wasn't it?
It was 4 nights ago, to be precise.
Oh, you have to understand. I have trouble recalling what I ate for breakfast this morning, let alone what happened 4 nights ago.
Well, isn't that convenient?
Do try to remember, Mr. Puffin. It's quite important.
Well, I know I voted at my local polling place, the Silent Raven. And then... I'm not sure, actually.
Do you know anything about the murder outside the Silent Raven?
Murder?
Yes, a man was shot. Did you see or hear anything?
I don't remember. I don't think so, no.
How long were you at the Raven that evening?
Not very long, I don't think. I went, voted, stayed for a drink, and then I left.
Do you recall what you did the rest of the evening?
Not specifically. I probably went home and went to bed, like I always do.
Do you recognize the man in this photo?
Is that? No, never mind.
What is it?
Well, for a moment, I thought it was someone else, but I was clearly mistaken.
So you don't recognize this person, then?
Afraid not. Who is he?
His name is, or rather was, Ronan Lespay.
What? Is he dead?
He is. I'm trying to find out who killed him.
Well, I hope you find your man, Mr. Fordham.
Are you in the habit of using opium, Mr. Puffin?
What? Why would you think that?
I met your friend Darius. He told me you share a pastime.
All right, yes, I do enjoy a visit to the opium den from time to time.
From time to time? More like morning, noon, and night.
Have you found the drug has had any adverse effects? Memory loss, for example.
I admit I'm not quite as quick as I used to be, but without it, I'm in constant pain.
Is that right?
I fell off a horse when I was 15, and ever since then, my back's not been right. The doctors haven't been able to help. Poppy is my only comfort. I wish there were another way.
It might be worth seeking a more professional opinion about the effects of opium.
Does the name Priscilla mean anything to you?
Priscilla? What does that have to do with anything?
The name has come up in my investigation. Is it someone you're acquainted with?
No, it isn't. I don't know anyone by that name.
You certainly seem concerned about her, though.
How did you become choir master of this church?
Oh, well, I studied music at the University of New Britannia. Once I completed my studies, I began writing symphonies in hopes of securing a patron, but I had no luck. So I decided to focus on choral compositions. I said a few pieces to the bishop, and he offered me the position.
And you enjoy it?
Oh, yes, sir, immensely. I'm able to continue composing songs for our choir, as well as teach music to our young members. I take my church duties very seriously.
What else do you do besides lead the choir?
Just a few things here and there, making sure the aisles and the pews are clean, tending to the prayer candles, and that sort of thing.
So, what do you think of the election results?
All right, the election. Who won?
Leroy. He beat Atwood by a significant margin.
Oh, I suppose that's good. I think I may have voted for him, but I'm not sure.
I'll let you resume your practicing, Mr. Puffin.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
Now this is one intriguing chest. If only we could search it without arousing any suspicions. Prayer candles? People think lighting one of these is going to solve their problems. If only it were that easy. Also, what happens if they go out? Does that mean your prayer gets canceled? Shh. What? It's an important question. The more I think about it, the more I want to test my theory about prayers being canceled if the candles go out. Well, that's all of them. Hope you made a wish.
Could I have another moment of your time, Mr. Puffin?
Yes, I suppose so.
It seems that all the prayer candles have gone out.
Have they? Blast, I keep saying there's a draft, but nobody's done anything about it. Excuse me for a moment, won't you?
Let's hope this chest hasn't got squeaky hinges.
Could I have another moment of your time, Mr. Puffin?
Yes, I suppose so.
Do you know anyone named Ned?
Ned? Well, yes, I do. My nephew, Ned Bunkridge.
Your nephew?
Yes, why do you ask?
Where might I find Ned? I'd like to speak with him.
Is everything all right? Ned hasn't gotten into any trouble, has he? I always tell him just because he's training his body, that's no excuse to pick fights.
No, he hasn't gotten into any trouble.
Oh, well, he lives in Lyon, at 511 Parkside Terrace.
Right. Thank you for the information. I'll let you resume your practicing, Mr. Puffin.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
Right this way, sir. Mr. Bunkridge is in his gymnasium.
Thank you, my good man.
Well, you take a look at this place, and take a look at him. Maybe you should consider doing some training yourself, Miles. You aren't getting any younger, after all. What in the ether is that supposed to be? Looks like some kind of medieval torture device. Then again, so does most of this newfangled exercise equipment. This seems to be where Ned keeps his extra equipment, and assorted other garbage. This seems to... They don't look just when I thought I'd seen it all. What will they think of next? Some kind of martial art? Doesn't look like any I've ever heard of. Makes you wonder if old Nettie boy is at the end of his rope, too.
Excuse me, Mr. Bunkridge?
Oh, hello. Who are you?
I'm Miles Fordham, a private investigator. Your valet let me in.
Right, of course. What can I do for you?
I have a few questions for you, if you'd be so kind.
Yes, all right. I could use a bit of a rest anyway.
Are you familiar with a man named Ronan Lespay?
Never heard of him.
I have his portrait. Maybe you recognize him?
No, I've never seen this man before, but... How about that?
How about what?
The detail in this ferrotype is a bit fuzzy, but his facial features and hair, they vaguely resemble mine.
You know, now that he mentions it, it's true. Lespay does bear a passing resemblance to this fellow. Not quite as handsome, though.
So, you know nothing about the murder outside the Silent Raven 4 nights ago?
That's right. I don't even know what the Silent Raven is.
It's a bar in the Chum.
Well, that explains it. For one thing, I don't go to that part of town. A man like me sets foot in that den of ruffians, and I'll have every Tom, Dick, and Harry challenging me to a fight. Not that I couldn't take them, but I have better ways to train my body than beating thugs. Anyway, I don't drink. Dulls the mind and softens the body.
I see. Well, just thought I'd ask.
I'm sorry I can't help you, Mr. Fordham, but I hope you solve whatever it is you're investigating. You seem like a nice enough sort.
Tell me about your uncle.
You know Tom?
I've met him, yes. He's the one who told me where you lived.
Oh, right. Well, my uncle is an interesting man.
Is that an interesting of the good or bad variety?
I really wish he would take better care of himself is all. I have the feeling that he's on some sort of drug, although he always denies it.
What gives you that impression?
Well, most of the time he acts completely normal. He goes to work, visits with me. Sometimes we go out together to the theater or a gallery. But some days his mood changes. He goes very solitary, won't leave his house, gets short with me. One time I went to visit him, I heard him yelling along with what sounded like furniture being knocked about. It only happened once, but it worried me. I hope Tom isn't in any sort of trouble.
Opium is one hell of a drug. It's a good thing you never got to that point with the soporific, or Adelaide would have thrown you out much sooner.
Are you all right, Mr. Fordham?
Yes, I'm fine.
What? Too soon?
Could you give me Tom's address?
You don't have it? I thought you said you'd spoken with him.
I visited him at the cathedral.
But if he's there, why do you want his address?
I have reason to believe he may be somehow involved in a murder.
That's a serious accusation, Mr. Fordham. What proof do you have?
Nothing concrete just yet, which is why I'd like to investigate his home.
Well, you're not the police, so I'm not obligated to tell you. I'm sorry, but you'll need more than just a suspicion to convince me.
On second thought, never mind. Does the name Priscilla mean anything to you?
Yes, it most certainly does. My lady love is named Priscilla Poundstone.
I see. What can you tell me about her?
Oh, she's a darling. I love her very much. Such a kind and gentle soul she is, too. Loves animals, especially dogs. We've been together for ages and are due to be married soon.
When was the last time you saw her?
Saw her? Oh, no, Mr. Fordham. She doesn't live in New Britannia. She attends Miss Threadneedle's Academy for Young Ladies in Cormorant.
She lives in New Holland?
That's right. I've never actually met Priscilla face to face. We communicate exclusively through correspondence.
How did you two get involved?
Her father and mine were old military friends. They decided between them that their children would be engaged.
And you're both in agreement?
Yes. I admit at first I was a bit hesitant, but we share many of the same interests. The distance between us is not a detriment to our love.
I wonder how that will change once they actually begin cohabiting.
So you correspond regularly with Priscilla?
That's right. At least one letter a week. My uncle does me the kindness of acting as courier.
Do you think I might have a look at one of those letters?
What for? They're private correspondence.
I understand, but I feel this is important. Perhaps you could show me one that isn't too personal.
Yes, I suppose that would be all right. In fact, I think there's a recent one on the shelf there. That's not too private. But you won't need to take it, will you?
Not at all. I just want to have a look. You're very into physical conditioning, aren't you?
Oh, you noticed. Yes, I believe that a healthy body is just as important as a healthy mind, if not more so.
Well, he's definitely prioritizing the former.
It's important to keep fit, especially at a job like mine where I'm in a chair most of the day.
What job is that?
I'm a clerk at the Bank of Vespuccia, but someday I hope to leave and teach others about the health benefits of regular exercise. Perhaps even open up my own gymnasium.
Ha! He actually thinks people are gonna go for that? Good luck to him.
Thanks for your time.
Not a problem.
Wait just a minute. Something's off here. The handwriting in this letter is different to the one we found before. There's something strange going on with this Priscilla.
Could I ask you a few more questions, Mr. Bunkridge?
All right, but try not to take too long. Don't want to drop my heart rate too much.
About your uncle's address?
What about it? Why do you want it?
I think there's something going on between him and Priscilla.
Something going on? What do you mean?
I found a letter addressed to you from her at the cathedral, and the handwriting is different to the letter you have here.
He has one of her letters? Why would he?
I'm not sure, which is why I'd like to search his home and find out more.
If he's going behind my back, I swear I'll...
Calm yourself, Mr. Bunkridge. If I find anything, you'll be the first to know.
All right. Tom lives at 117 Gimlet Terrace in Worcester.
Hey, we're practically neighbors.
Here, I've got a spare key. If you find anything about him and Priscilla, you'll tell me, won't you?
Of course. Thank you, Mr. Bunkridge. How do you feel about the election outcome?
I'm disappointed. Atwood may not have been the greatest PM, but he was pro-steam tech. Sure, the Ligeia incident was a tragedy, but people are too quick to judge. Steam technology is a boon to mankind. It's already enriched my life considerably. It's a shame the progress is going to be held back because of one isolated occurrence.
Thanks for your time.
Not a problem.